Hello friends, this is our 7th lecture on Apology for Poetry by Sir Philip Sidney. So the last point in the last class we saw the end of all art and all knowledge is architectonic. That means praxis or practice. Knowing, that will be just like the barren clouds, one shower. But architectonic is the ending in it, that means putting into practice. And only poesy, according to Sidney, only poesy can lead you to action. Attract you towards it and lead you to action because it teaches as well as derives. A very good example he gives is also saddle, the saddle maker. He makes a saddle. The saddle is meant for horsemanship, and the horsemanship is meant for a person to become a soldier, a good soldier, and the soldier should put that into practice in battle. That is, so knowing and the doing. That's it. Now today the main point is also we saw how a concept is developed. As for example in John Keats' poem Ode to Autumn and Ode on a Grecian Turn. That also we saw. Now we see today the main point that we are going to discuss is the poet's nobleness. The poet is noble. He is nobler than the lawyer, the moral philosopher, the historian, and the philosopher, the general secular philosopher against. Understand that? Lawyer, philosopher, and so on. So, today's main point is, yesterday's it was architectonic, and today's it is the nobleness of the poet, or poet's nobleness. That is our today's main point is this. How he argues that the poet is nobler than. And he takes these competitors, he says these are the competitors of poets. That is the moral philosopher. You have then got the historian. And you have got the philosopher. You also have got the lawyer. And he compares this. He says, think of the moral philosopher. He always dull. Whenever he speaks, what comes out of his mouth is 10 commandments and different explanations of 10 commandments. He is against glory. He doesn't like any glorious things. He doesn't like any of these good things of life. He always says you should control your passion. You should control your desire. Isn't it? That's what he says. And says that you should always attempt virtuous action. So this is what he says. Therefore you see what happens is, he puts control over yourself, man, on family and also your public life and society. So you feel a kind of aversion. But it's not the case with the poet. The poet teaches and denies. Here only is the gravity, the sullen gravity of the moral philosophy. Sullen gravity. His face is always cloudy. And you can see he has got a frowning forehead, frowning. And then goes also. So he teaches, but inferior to the poet. Then we find the history. So first is the moral philosopher. He teaches, but what does he do? He is very serious and dull. No mirth, nothing merry about it, nothing happy about it. He says, control your passion, control your desire. Everything is control. Understand? Then we come to the next competitor is, we have got the historian. The historian. And what does the historian say? Historian, he, according to Sir Philip Sidney, he goes through the mouse-eaten records. Whatever he compiles is from hearsay. He has not seen that. No? For example, suppose a historian is giving a description of the Battle of Plassey. He hasn't seen it. Something, he uses only the simple past tense. That is was. Once upon a time there was a battle. That is it. He just narrates things, but something that happened. Something that happened to Caesar, or something that happened to Pompey, or something that happened in 100 Years' War, or something that happened in the battle between Hyderabad, not Hyderabad, that will be Indian, it's not there, we are not concerned about that here. Here it is about general things, no? And also things that happened in the BCs. That's what he quotes. So we can also take examples from Indian history, but the context is something or things that happened probably in the early centuries or in BCs, BCE, before Common Era. It's examples like that. So somebody died, somebody committed suicide, and somebody did like this. There are some reforms were made by some. And they have got the claim. What is the claim? They say that history is lux vitae. Historians say it is lux vitae. Means vitae means vital, life. Vitamin comes from this word, vitae. Lux means light. Not lux soap, but lux. Lucifer means the person who carried light. Lux, lucis, that is the Latin word. So according to the historian, history is lux vitae. Temporum magistra. Temporum magistra. This is what the historian says about history. Light of life, temporum is time, temporary vision, permanent and temporary. Temporum magistra means master. So the historian says he is life of, he is light of life. He is also the master or magister. Master means magister. Magister of time. Because he records things that happen in time, isn't it? And then he said, vitae memoriae. Vita memoriae. Same word again. Vita. Memoriae. Memoriae. Means life of memory, it says. Vita. Vita means life. Vitamin. Vitality. These words come from vita. This is the Latin word. So this is Latin, and this is what the historian says about himself. Historian says, we are the light of life, we are the magister or master of time, we are the life of memory. But actually, what happens there is, as we have seen, there is only one tense in history, and that is was, simple past tense. That is something that happened. But he says, they have a great claim. They say, see, we are historians, we are teaching you things that actually happen in an active field. From the action we are showing. This is, you learn from the battle of Phasaelus. Battle of Phasaelus. That is fought between the two great generals, Pompey and Caesar in Greece, as part of the civil war between these two generals. Phasaelus, the battle of Phasaelus. So when you study the battle of Phasaelus, you know the qualities of Pompey and also Caesar. And why Caesar was defeated or why Pompey was defeated. So the historian says that this is examples. Things that actually happened in history, so this will be lessons. Future kings and queens and future generals and future leaders can learn from their actions. So we are the lux vitae. means life, light of life. Tempora magistra, this is the master of time. Again he says now, the historian will say that we present things actually happened in the battlefield. For example, you can think about the battle. One is first Sidney, and then you have got the battle of Agincourt, and also the battle of Poitiers. Now, battle of Agincourt and battle of Poitiers. These are two battles that took place or that were fought between France and England in the 100 Years' War. Both these battles were won by the British. Two great victories. Then he says, we are also giving, say, battles of Marathon. The battle between Persians and Greece. Persian invasion of Greece. So he says, when you read stories about these battles, Battle of Marathon between Greece and Persians, Battle of Agincourt and Poitiers between France and England, and also the battle of Versailles between Pompey and Caesar. You learn many things. Future senators, future kings, future queens, future generals, they can learn lessons from this. They will say that we are masters. But as we know, as we began with this discussion, we saw that they rely on hearsay. This is not the eyewitness. Eyewitness will be reporting, it will not be history. As you can see now, this media men reporting things, that will be reports. It won't be history. History is past things. The person who writes has never seen this. They have no idea about it. But they rely on hearsay, and they rely also on histories written by other people. Therefore, it teaches, but it's all particular things, not general. Teaches what Caesar has done, teaches what Pompey has done, teaches what Persians have done, teaches what Athens, that is Greece, people of Greece have done. What the French have done, what the Englishman has done, not universal. It's particular. So that is the defect of history. Moral philosophy is dull and very serious. Nobody wants to be serious all 24 hours of the day. And history, when you compare poetry is universal truth. How things ought to be. And the poet takes imaginative freedom, while the historian is confined to. He is a servant of the happenings. He is, in the last class we saw, Xenophon Cyrus and the actual Cyrus, they are different. Means the character is alright, but how the feigned Cyrus is different from the actual Cyrus. Understand? So because the poet wants to teach as well as delight. So two defects of history, he says. One, or we can say three. One, it is built on hearsay. Now proof. Second, it is about particular things. The third, they depend on their knowledge on other records and other histories. They have no imaginative freedom. They are tied, so to say, one particular pole. Therefore, he says, history, by. Moral philosophy, by. Then what about philosophers? And he takes the next competitor in this arena to establish the superiority of, or fighting against the superiority of poesy. Poetry is philosophy. philosopher. What about the philosopher? Philosopher teaches general truth, no doubt. But they are disputative virtues. General truth agrees. There are wordy description, wordy definitions. Isn't it? There philosophers give definitions. They give precepts. This descriptions. They don't show you the actual thing. Suppose the philosopher, under that Bacon says, no, this schoolman, he says, not praising them, but it has got a kind of negative meaning. In a negative sense, he says, schoolmen. It means they go on describing, defining, and philosopher. And philosophers' precepts very good in Plato's academy, because there is no danger. It's no problem there. Philosophers, it's no problem. But see, suppose a philosopher defines a rhino or a luxurious mansion or a palace. You get a picture of a palace, a description of a palace. Or you get a description of an elephant, a simple thing like an elephant. You read one paragraph or two paragraphs like this, but you have not seen it. But on the other hand, if you see a painting of that, then you directly understand it. So this seeing the painting of it is just a speaking picture. According to Horace, poetry is a speaking feature. So you see the painting of it. Then you have that contact, you know what a rhino is. You can see, the first standard, second standard and so on books. You get the picture. Why? Because the child can understand it very easily. Suppose there is a one-page description of an elephant in a textbook. How difficult it will be for the child to understand it. See, that's the difference. So, here what happens is, you virtues, you define virtues. Wise, you define wise. But on the other hand, the poet is not like that. If you see ambition, how will the poet describe it? So like the philosopher will, he will give a long narration of that or description of that. But in Shakespeare you can see ambition. You can see the ambition solidified. The concrete expression of ambition in my person. What a big difference. You want a person who is always procrastinating things. You can write pages about procrastination, but when you see the Prince Hamlet, it directly hits your mind. Understand? So this is the difference. This is the difference between philosophy and the poesy. Understand? You can write a lot about Grecian art, but when you see the imaginative freedom with which the imaginative vision, so to say, with which John Keats writes about it, or on a Grecian art, what a wonderful speaking picture is that. So this is the difference between philosophy and poesy. So we have seen three competitors. One is the moral philosopher, he is dull and very serious. Second, we saw a historian who says that we are the light of life and the master of time, temporum magistra. And with the life of, what is it? The life of the light of life. Yes. Life of memory. Vita memory. So, lux vitae temporum magistra vita memory. Life of memory. They say, but we have dismissed the historian on the basis of, what is the first one? Is particular thing. Second, uses only past tense. And third, he relies on only hearsay and other people's history. He does not have a first-hand knowledge of things. Particular, not general, should be dismissed. Now we come to the all-important philosopher, who is very safe and having a very cozy and very comfortable life in Plato's academy. So, what happens there is, it's very comfortable. He goes on giving definitions. What is a virtue, what is vice, and he goes on giving precepts. But what is the point? It's very abstract. But a poesy or poets, it is like a picture. You can see that you can see that with your own eyes. So the communication becomes very simple and easy. Now we have got the lawyer. The fourth competitor is the lawyer. The lawyer and the poet. So moral philosopher and the poet is dull, very serious, grave. Then historian is particular things. No authenticity, speaks what has happened. Yes, no imaginative freedom, cannot change. Third philosopher, he is wordy, schoolman, wordy descriptions. But poetry is not like that. Only definitions and descriptions. You are tedious, you become tedious, you are tired of reading that. Now comes the lawyer. The lawyer, actually what does he do? The law is an art itself. You can interpret the law in any way you want. But the lawyer is formidino, formidino, formipene, P-O-E-N-E, formidino pene, virtutis amore, virtutis amore. So this is his field. What does a lawyer do? He teaches people formadino pene, means frightening him, forbidding him with the punishment. Pone means punishment in Latin. From there you have got words like punishment, impunity. This is the root. Pone. So, formidino, that is forbidding persons to do evil or resisting or discouraging people to do evil because they are told that you will be punished. If you break civil laws, you will be punished. You observe civil laws or any law for that matter, not because you love it. That is, virtutis amore. Virtu means virtue. Amore means love. Listen, amorous. Amorous is English word from amore. Means loving, amorous. So here, if the lawyer teaches humans or people like us to be good, not out of love for virtue, amore virtutis, not out of love for virtue, but he tells them, if you go this way or that way, you will be punished. So what is the basis of a lawyer? Lawyer's teaching. The lawyer is not concerned with anything. Only thing is, you should not hurt anybody. That's what the lawyer says. The principle of the lawyer is, if you do wrong, you will be punished. That is, formidino pene. You will be punished. I am not concerned whether you have fallen in love with virtue or not. Not virtutis amore. So this is what he says. But if there is no love, there is no teaching, there is no delight. So the lawyer is also out. So he calls all the four commentators. Imagine like this. Sir Philip Sidney to establish poet's nobleness and superiority. You can say that also, superiority. Poet's superiority and nobleness. He calls the four competitors. And then he says, moral philosopher, you are dull and grave. Historian, you are particular. You are speaking only particular things, and also you rely on hearsay and records of other people. Records written by other people. No first-hand knowledge for you. Philosopher, he says, you are only, this is wordy, W-O-R-D-Y. Only wordy descriptions. Wordy descriptions. And lawyer, he says, you are not at all teaching people to love virtue, but you are asking them to, you are threatening them with punishment. That's why they behave in a virtuous manner, or they observe rules. So, in all this four, partly you can say philosophy teaches, but there is no delight. Moral philosopher, absolutely no delight. Historian, not universal. And there is no delight also. What delight is there? When you read the battles of a battle fought between Pompey and the Caesar in Greece, as part of their civil war, the fight between the two. Ultimately, of course, Caesar won, we know that, and Caesar was, and he was assassinated. All those things that we know. Then philosopher is very not clear, misty world is here. The philosopher world is a misty world, misty world. It was very difficult. The philosopher teaches those who are already learned. But the sweet food of poetry is not like that. It is soft, for the soft stomach. The other is for a hard stomach. Listen, as you remember, I told you, there is no nursery philosophy, but we have got nursery rhyme. See that? Or do you, when you send your children to nursery, are they coming back saying that today we had nursery philosophy, we have nursery economics, we have nursery politics, but we have got nursery rhyme. Soft and delightful. Action song, remember, no? Yes. And then you have a lawyer. Lawyer's concern is only punishment. So he pleads for people, not out of love for virtue, not virtutis amore, virtutis virtue, of virtue, amore means love. Not love of virtue, but formidino pone. That is the fear of punishment. He teaches people to be good, not out of love for virtue, but fear of punishment. They threaten people with punishment. That is how. Therefore he says, but what about poesy? Concluding, is the peerless poet, the most noble poet. He has established his superiority over all this. Therefore he says, another, you can say, ground for defending poesy. So poesy is again defended. So in the last class we saw, only poesy can lead you to virtuous action, because ending end of all art, all knowledge is virtuous action, and only poesy can do that. And now today we saw that only poetry is general, poetry is universal, poetry teaches, poetry delights. All the others don't. And therefore, if it is categorically we can say that poesy is the most noble, and poesy is the laurel of the crown, the crown of the laurel, made of laurel, that should be kept on the head of the triumphant poet rather than all these people. So once again, you underline the defense of poesy. The poesy is defended once again. Competitors, all the competitors out. There is a reason for it. What is the reason? Poesy speaks general things. It is the most philosophical of all the other arts. Secondly, it teaches. As we have in Cyrus, we saw the example of Cyrus. We saw the example of Enos carrying his old father on his back. We saw the virtues of Ulysses, his patriotism. Even when he was in the court of Calypso enjoying all kinds of delights, still he is thinking of his Ithaca, Ulysses. That is patriotism in action. They are all paragons of virtue. And at the same time, you are not describing what virtue is, but you see a person is in front of you. So you can easily understand. Speaking picture. Therefore it says, poetry is universal, poetry teaches, poetry delights, and poetry is vivid, and the poet can use his imaginative freedom, whereas the historian has to confine himself with the data given. Cannot improve upon the data because he does not have the imaginative freedom, and therefore poesy is again defended. Establish the superiority of the poet and the poesy over all other nations, all other arts, all other learnings. Okay? So, with the, again the next class we will, I hope you are following me. Next class we will be, this is the 7th lecture. Next class we will meet with the 8th lecture. So, then we will see, again continue this argument. That is, how the poet becomes the peerless. There's nobody you cannot compare the poet with anybody. So, the poet becomes the peerless artist, the peerless teacher, the peerless philosopher, the peerless lawyer, the peerless moral philosopher, and the peerless historian. That we will see in the next class. Till then, bye. Have a nice time and enjoy.